flicks. Today we're spotlighting Michael B. Jordan, the powerhouse actor behind iconic roles in Creed, Black Panther, and so much more.
He really is. We're diving into the trivia, career turns, and, those little-known facts that make him one of Hollywood's most compelling stars right now.
Absolutely. Let's unpack this deep dive for you. It's quite a story.
It really is a fascinating journey to explore. We're going to start right at the beginning, looking at his early life and those formative television roles.
Yeah, the ones that really paved the way for his leap onto the big screen.
Exactly.
So if you're wondering about the man behind Adonis Creed and Killmonger, Michael Bakari Jordan was born February 9th, 1987 in Santa Ana, California.
Right, but he didn't stay on the West Coast long.
No, his family moved to Newark, New Jersey when he was just, 2? Mm-hmm. That's really where he grew up.
Mm-hmm. And, his middle name, Bakari, it holds a nice meaning. It's Swahili for noble promise.
Oh, that's interesting. Kind of fitting, wouldn't you say?
You could definitely argue it's been quite fitting for his career. His parents are Donna and Michael A. Jordan, and he has 2 siblings, an older sister, Jamila, and a younger brother, Khalid.
And he went to Newark Arts High School, which is a pretty cool detail because his mother actually taught there.
Oh, wow. Really? So he had a built-in connection.
Yeah. And he wasn't just about drama, apparently. The sources mentioned he played basketball in high school, maybe hinting at those future sports film roles.
Maybe. But his very first significant breakout role, well, based on the sources, was definitely in television.
Right. The Wire.
Yes. He played Wallace in the first season of HBO's The Wire back in 2002. And anyone who's seen that show remembers Wallace.
Oh, absolutely. Such a memorable, really heartbreaking role. Showed his potential so early on.
Definitely. After that, though, he took a completely different turn. A bit of a pivot.
Yeah, he spent a few years, like 2003 to 2006, starring as Reggie Montgomery in the ABC soap opera, All My Children.
That's a major shift, isn't it? Soap operas are a different beast altogether. Day in, day out grind.
Totally different acting muscle. But it shows his versatility, even back then.
It really does. And then came another role that I think really cemented his potential for a lot of viewers and critics.
Friday Night Lights.
You got it. Quarterback Vince Howard in the NBC sports drama Friday Night Lights. He was on that show for 2 seasons, 2009 to 2011.
And that show has such a fiercely dedicated fan base.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Right.
Beyond those key roles, though, he was just working, doing the guest spots, recurring roles.
Yeah, popping up in CSI, Without a Trace, Cold Case, Burn Notice.
Law and Order, Criminal Intent, even Parenthood. He was definitely honing his craft on TV.
For sure. And that extensive TV background, it seems like it was a perfect launch pad for what came next.
Which was the move into film, really launching him onto the global stage.
So what did that film transition look like? The sources mentioned some earlier stuff, right?
Yeah, little parts here and there. Hardball back in 2001, Blackout in 2007, Red Tails in 2012.
And he starred in that found footage movie Chronicle in 2012 as well.
Right, Chronicle was gaining some buzz. But while those were important steps, the sources clearly point to one role as the true turning point.
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station, 2013, starring as shooting victim Oscar Grant. That was it. The moment critics universally sat up and took notice.
And here's where it gets really insightful, because Fruitvale Station wasn't just a critical hit for him.
It was directed by Ryan Coogler.
Exactly. Their first collaboration. The sources really highlight this, setting the stage for that incredible partnership they've had.
Definitely. And what's fascinating about the Fruitvale Station reception is the level of praise he got personally.
Like what?
Well, Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter didn't just say his performance was good. He specifically said Jordan reminded him of a young Denzel Washington.
Wow. A young Denzel. That's huge praise.
It is. For you, that comparison immediately signals that critics saw not just potential, but like genuine dramatic depth and gravitas in his work.
That kind of comparison from a major critic, that's powerful validation. It's no surprise, then, that after Fruitvale Station, he was widely named an actor to watch.
Yeah, by places like People and Variety. The industry knew something big was happening.
And with that momentum, he started taking on bigger projects, including jumping into some major franchises.
Which really raised his profile with global audiences.
First up in the franchise world, though, was Johnny Storm and Fantastic Four in 2015.
Yes. We should probably note, based on the sources, that film's reception was well.
Let's just say quite different from the critical love he just received for Fruitvale.
Yeah, sometimes that happens in Hollywood. It's a tough business.
It is. But he rebounded remarkably well, like later that same year.
He did. Starring as Adonis Creed in Creed, the 7th film in the iconic Rocky franchise.
In that role, Adonis Creed, it would become synonymous with his name, really.
Absolutely. And this role was doubly significant, wasn't it?
Well, so.
Well, it was his second time working with Ryan Coogler, and his first time working with Sylvester Stallone. You know, Mr. Rocky himself.
Getting the blessing from Sly. And the sources really emphasize the prep he did for Adonis. It sounds intense.
Oh, yeah. They detail a full year of rigorous physical training, a really stringent low-fat diet. It wasn't just about looking the part.
It was about embodying the physicality of a boxer.
Yeah.
You can see that dedication on screen because apparently he didn't use a body double for the fight scenes in Creed.
No. The sources state he was, quote, routinely bloodied, bruised, and dizzy during filming.
Wow. That level of commitment, it really speaks to his intensity as an actor.
Yeah.
Making it feel authentic for you watching at home.
That dedication absolutely paid off. Then, fast forward a few years to 2018, and he takes on another role that became instantly iconic.
Killmonger.
Eric Killmonger in Marvel's Black Panther, and guess who directed?
Ryan Coogler again, their third collaboration.
Exactly, and Killmonger wasn't just any villain, was he? He was complex. For many viewers, incredibly compelling.
Totally. His performance got tremendous critical response. Didn't he win an award for it?
He did. The MTV Movie and TV Award for Best Villain in 2018, that win alone tells you the kind of impact Killmonger had.
Definitely. He also came back as Adonis Creed that same year in Creed 2, continuing to build that franchise.
But his work wasn't just limited to acting by this point. The sources show he was increasingly moving behind the camera.
As a producer, right.
Yes, he produced the HBO film Fahrenheit 451 in 2018 and the legal drama Just Mercy in 2019, which he also starred in.
Plus producing credits on Without Remorse in 2021 and A Journal for Jordan also in 2021.
And he even had that supporting role and was an executive producer on the Netflix series Raising Dion.
So it's clear he wasn't just waiting for roles, he was actively involved in bringing projects to life, shaping his own path.
Exactly. And that expansion behind the camera, it led to some really interesting creative choices and revealed some of his less expected influences.
You mean like animation and anime?
That's the fascinating turn. The sources mention his involvement in the animated anthology series Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh yeah, which episode?
He starred as combat pilot Terrence in the season 2 episode Life Hutch, which came out in May 2021.
Okay, now here's a detail from the sources that's genuinely surprising. Something that gives you an insight into how they made that animation.
What's that?
The cast list for his appearance in that episode, it doesn't say voice next to his name.
Oh.
So it implies he wasn't just doing voiceover work, he was performing using sophisticated motion capture or performance capture, essentially acting as a real person being translated into animation.
Wow, okay. That is different. That's pretty cutting edge for animation performance, isn't it?
Totally. It speaks to an interest in exploring new ways to perform. The sources mention user reviews thought he captured the exhausted fighter pilot vibe well.
Though, apparently one perspective felt his skills might have been wasted in that format. But the episode premise itself, pilot crash lands, seeks shelter, faces a rogue, robot, classic sci-fi stuff.
Definitely. Now, moving back to live action, that exploration of different roles and the behind-the-camera work, it all culminated in a huge milestone for him recently.
His feature film directorial debut.
Yes, with Creed 3rd in 2023. A massive undertaking. He directed, starred as Adonis again, and produced.
Talk about wearing multiple hats.
Seriously. And Creed 3rd was a huge success. The sources highlight positive critical reviews, praising his direction, the story, performances.
And especially the fighting sequences.
Yes. Plus, it was a major hit at the box office. Highest-grossing Creed film so far. That's quite a debut behind the camera.
And what makes those fight sequences in Creed 3 particularly noteworthy, and this is a great nugget from the sources for you listening, is their unusual influence. The choreography was heavily inspired by anime.
No way. Really? Like when?
Yeah. We're talking shows like Megalobox, Naruto Shippuden, Hajime no Ippo, and even Dragon Ball Z.
That is so cool. You can actually see it, can't you?
Yeah.
Those dramatic poses, the camera angles, the impact frames.
Totally.
Oh,
it's all pulling from those beloved anime styles. It shows how his personal passions, like, directly informed his directorial vision, created something unique in the sports drama genre.
It really did. And speaking of bringing back fan favorites, he also made that brief cameo return as Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. Wakanda Forever in 2022. Just a glimpse.
Yeah, so his impact as an actor, producer, director, combined with these distinct influences, it's earned him some significant recognition recently.
Absolutely. The sources mentioned he was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. Not just once, but twice, 2020 and 2023.
That kind of sustained influence across different fields is pretty remarkable.
And in 2020, he was also named People's Sexiest Man Alive.
Can't forget that one. Also that year, the New York Times ranked him 15th on their list of the 25 greatest actors of the 21st century.
So you've got attractiveness, influence, and serious acting chops all being recognized around the same time. That's quite the trifecta.
It really is.
And here's a fun fact from the sources that kind of throws a curveball, way outside of Hollywood.
Oh, what is it?
He's also a co-owner of the English Premier League football club AFC Bournemouth.
Get out! Really? Soccer.
Yep, the cherries. It's not something you typically expect from a major movie star. Shows his interests stretch beyond just the entertainment industry.
It definitely does. And looking ahead, based on what the sources are saying, he's far from finished building his empire, you could say.
No kidding. He confirmed it himself back in February 2023. A fourth Creed film is happening for sure.
And he mentioned spin-offs too, didn't he? Something about the Creedverse growing.
Yeah, Creedverse continue to grow and expand. Sounds like he sees a whole universe of stories stemming from Adonis.
And that got more solid in November 2023 when producer Irwin Winkler confirmed Creed IV is in active development, with Jordan set to return as director.
Taking the reins again. Now, adding another layer for you following these things closely, there's a quote from March 2025 where Jordan expressed interest in working with Jonathan Majors again for Creed IV.
Oh, interesting. That certainly sparks curiosity about where that story could possibly go, given everything.
It definitely does. Beyond the Creed saga, the sources list other projects he's attached to as actor, director, or producer.
Like what?
There's Sinners, apparently slated for 2025, and a remake of The Thomas Crown Affair, expected in 2027, where he's also set to direct and produce.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Okay.
He's clearly charting a path that puts him firmly in control of the projects he wants to make.
Seems like it. So, that's a wrap on our deep dive into the life and roles of Michael B. Jordan from, Wallace and the Wire all the way to Adonis Creed and the director's chair.
We've covered his early grind, those breakout roles, his unexpected influences from anime and performance capture.
And his growing power as a producer and director.
What really stands out, I think, is how strategically he seems to have built his career. Through key collaborations, like with Coogler, and by taking on roles that didn't just showcase his talent, but also let him explore new parts of the industry.
Yeah, he hasn't just ridden the wave. He's definitely steering the ship now. Yeah. So for you, the listener, the question is, looking at this trajectory, the calculated risks, the dedication to craft, embracing diverse influences like anime, the move into directing and producing, what does it tell you about the kind of storyteller and creative force Michael B. Jordan is becoming in Hollywood?
And where do you think he'll take the Creedverse or his other future projects next?
Definitely something to ponder as you consider his remarkable journey so far.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who can appreciate a good movie fact. Until next time, keep rolling the credits.